Commission. The clock says 8 o'clock, but it's really only 7 o'clock. They did not adjust it as such, and I think we have,
David.
good. Dave is here. Hi, Dave, right on time. 6:59. Oh, you're a beauty.
There you go.
Is that the, what time is that according to?
The atomic clock.
The atomic clock, okay. We gotta go by the air, it's 8 o'clock, we're all done with the meeting.
Well,
We have a minute. What I have there, Dave, if Jamie doesn't want to come, I have this article that appeared in the Town Times, and it includes all the issues concerning the gate, and she has agreed to certain things in there, okay? We'll get to that. Jamie was going to read it, Robert's going to read
Yeah,
it
because
into the record.
I didn't bring my reading glasses.
No, okay,
So it's
Okay.
better off that he, I have to hold it up.
no.
oh, here's Jamie.
Here's Jamie. Good, right on time. Well, let's see, atomic time, what do you have?
Mr. Chairman, I have 7 o'clock. 7 p.m.
Sub-time.
Jamie,
Yes,
Here we go.
when we get to this on the agenda,
Yes.
could you read this into the record?
Certainly.
Only up to that point.
absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great.
Oh, here we go.
I guess at 8 o'clock according
It's
to
now
your.
7 p.m. Yes.
Good. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start the meeting for November 9th, Police Commission in-person meeting, 7 p.m. The first matter on the agenda is calling attendance.
Robert McCarthy.
Richard Antonetti,
David Genetti?
Richard Rossi.
Jamie Lambaugh.
thank you. Let us move to the next item on the agenda. Public participation. Would you please come to the table in front of me? And there's a button that you push, you will get a light.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to acknowledge that we have our Deputy Chief Dominguez with us.
Yes, I was going to get to that once we get there. Here it is. Tonight, the chief is not here tonight. He is at an event where his daughter is swimming. She won first place in the league, and now she is entering into the state championship. Very fine article in the Waterbury paper on the event. So tonight we have our deputy chief. He has assured me that all things will move smoothly in regards to police matters. Thank you for coming tonight. We're going to be moving on now to the public participation. Just come to the microphone on the table and make sure the light's on, and you can address the issue that you are concerned with. Thank you.
I've been here for several meetings already.
Could you state your name and address, please?
Frank Genova, 104 Pleasant View Avenue, Oakville.
Thank you.
And I've been here for the last couple of meetings, and I've been complaining about the gate and the traffic at the back of the Watertown High School. Now, I went to the chief several times about this. He did send a cop car up there each time. But each time he sends a cop car, he gets there at 1:30. He parks the car there, and he sits in the car. Guess what? Nobody parks there. It's perfect. Goes out for about a week, 2 weeks, perfect. Then no more cop car, the traffic comes back. They park in the no parking signs all over the place. I talked to the chief, I talked to the town manager, cop comes back up, you know what happens. Nobody parks there, but he just stays in the car. I don't think he ever gave a verbal warning to anybody. I even said to the chief once, I said, don't expect you to go up there and give them tickets, but you gotta warn them. After a while, you have to do something. Now you're just playing cat and mouse all day long. You park the car there, the people don't come. You move your car, the people come, right? Then we talked about the stop sign. He was gonna put a stop sign there at the gate when they're coming out. Well, then I find out he doesn't have the authority to put a stop sign there, which is fine. But what I don't understand, they redid this whole high school. They spent like $95 million between all the schools in Watertown. And they managed to put 8, maybe 9 stop signs inside that schoolyard. But it seems just like, I just don't believe they don't put one on an exit. It don't make any sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to anybody sitting here tonight, where they would put all these stop signs all over inside the schoolyard, but not one on the exit. But very seldom I ever get the truth at any of these meetings, so I make up my own mind, and I decided that ain't supposed to be an exit no more. That's why they didn't put a stop sign there when they redid the whole parking lot. Every other school I went to vote at Swift Junior High. Stop sign going into Davis Street, stop sign going out. The other school up in Buckingham, they got stop signs. The only one that don't have a stop sign is that gate. There's a reason there's not a stop sign there, because it's not an exit no more. That's why they put a light up on French Street. They complain about the traffic, they complain about this, but I also know and told them, when the school is dismissed, all those cars don't come flying out of the schoolyard. Half the cars are still there after. All the teachers got there after school activities, everybody's still there. There's an awful lot of cars left in that parking lot. So there's no reason for them to use that gate. And the only reason why I think they didn't take that gate down completely is because where I live on Pleasant View Avenue, when they closed Tower Road, there's anything going on down there, like there wasn't, this year they had to close it up for over a week because of a gas leak. The only way I could get home is going through the schoolyard then. So this is why I think they left that gate there. I think the agreement when they got all this money from grants or whatever they got, that gate was not supposed to be in use no more. This is why they put a light, 2 lanes going out, turn left, turn right, they have everything going for themselves. It's just, this is constantly getting lied to by everybody here. I went to the town manager, he asked me, he says, well, can you compromise a little bit? I said, yeah, all right, I'll tell you what. You want to open the gate for 10, 15 minutes, let the kids out, because I'm just getting sick of it, right? But you have to have somebody there to watch them coming out, because nobody stops. Nobody stops coming out of that gate. So many times, if I wasn't prepared for this, I could have gotten into an accident easily. My neighbors had the cops over their house, same thing because of accidents, but they just come out. So town manager says, all right, I don't know who he talked to. He didn't tell me. He said he was going to go to the school, maybe the superintendent. She was going to have somebody out there every day watching cars coming up the hill, cars coming out the gate. That never happened. No matter what they tell me, it doesn't happen. You know, I was here last week. I've been a little hard of hearing, I told you, so I says, you don't mind if I stay over a little bit? You said, after the meeting, we'll talk. I wanted to know what everybody said, more or less. So you told me that the gate's going to be closed, right?
Right.
The gate was never closed, not even one day. You told me, you talked to the chief when you went to the meeting in the back room over there. You talked to him about the parking, he's going to take care of it. It wasn't taken care of. You know, I'm just so sick of this. I lose sleep at night because I can't get the truth out of anybody. Like I told you, this is my last meeting because I just can't take it no more. And that's it.
Okay. I will talk with the chief, and we have the deputy chief here tonight, making sure that the chief knows that they are not complying with locking that gate. And that is an important point. We were assured that that gate will be locked. And the reason he's saying there's no stop sign, the school feels it is its property, and they will not have anybody go on the property to, say, put up stop signs. And they had requested at a time earlier to have a stop sign at a crosswalk for traffic to stop and let people cross. We were going to assist them with the stop sign. They said, no, this is our property. You cannot come on the property and put the stop sign up. And they are correct. It is their property. They put things on there, and that's it. As a result, we were assured that there would be a locking of that gate. And there, as you said, there is an officer there. Maybe that gate has to be reinforced with the idea that that gate has to be locked.
Well, the gate, they lock it up now during the day. They open it up for the school to get out. And here's the other thing. I have another question too, not officer. There's a sign on that gate. Now, I guess it doesn't mean anything. It says, do not enter, this is a one-way. You can come out that gate, but technically they have a sign there, do not go in that gate. But yet, the superintendent opens that gate in the morning to tell the kids, I guess you could go in, don't listen to these signs. So, then when I went to Swift Junior High to vote Wednesday, I was gonna go out the back gate. Well, mostly I went out to see if there's a stop sign there, and I see there's a sign on that gate, no left turns. Is anybody familiar with that? I don't know. Well, anyways, no left turns. Now, I'm wondering, if I take a left turn there, this is in the schoolyard, actually, nothing could happen to me. I can't get a ticket for this, am I right?
Well, again, we're going to have to go back and revisit. And I say now the chief is aware of what's going on, and I'm sure the deputy chief will relate it.
But
We've
what
been working on this for, I guess, 2
what
or
I'd like
3
to know
meetings.
is, do the signs mean anything or don't they mean anything? I mean, the signs there, do not enter this gate, do not enter, this is a one-way. The gate is purposely open in the morning to let people go in.
It's not. It's supposed to be closed at all times.
Can I, with permission, can I answer a little bit to this now, or do you want me to wait about the gate?
What is it?
Can I respond?
Sure.
Okay. So at the last meeting, we had talked with Dr. V, and she had come. The first one was to close the gate at John Trumbull, and we were going to continue to work on closing the gate at the high school. So what we've done in the meantime is making sure that we have an officer, and we actually had lieutenant out there as well. And you're right, they won't park if you're there, and they go down Pleasantville and they park on that other street, and there's a little street, correct. And that's what he has seen for the past, couple weeks. The process that we do want to do is to have that gate closed, but we were going to make sure that we did one school first, make sure all the resources, because we don't have enough, the police department didn't have enough resources. If we needed to have a police officer out there to do traffic at both schools at both times, it just was compromising our ability. So we handled John Trumbull. We haven't had any issues. I'm hoping that if someone else talks, it's positive. That gate is 100% locked. So now the next step that we're going to be doing, talking with the superintendent, is getting the gate at the high school closed completely. Obviously, it'll be pedestrian access, and then we'll have to still deal with the parents who are picking up in the back, but making the students drive out through the front, which means they're gonna have to wait till the buses go, and working through some of that logistics of everyone kind of unloading out the front through the light onto Front Street instead of through the back. So that is in the works, but you are correct, it is not shut, and it's not shut because we were dealing with the one school first, and then moving on to the high school, which is a little bit more, a lot of more volume. There's about 50 cars that come out of there daily at the end of school, and trying to figure something out. So that is what is going to be worked on for between now and the next meeting. So I would ask you to come back, and I understand you're frustrated, but we have had success with the one school, so hopefully we'll be able to replicate that for the second school, for the high school.
I think
I
that
appreciate
should
the
help
kudos.
resolve
Well,
the
I
question.
want to say, like I tell you, I get tired of this because I get lied to. Now, when I went to the chief the very first time, he said the gate is open because the principal of Watertown High School told him that the buses can't pick up the lower grades on time. So, didn't sound right to me. So one day I happened to be going through the high school and I see the buses. I didn't know how they come in, but I guess they come in, they circle around, and they facing out. All the rest have got stop signs. So when that bus is loaded, there's nothing holding that bus back. He goes right out. So it just has to be a coincidence. They closed Tower Road for 6 to 7 days, maybe 8 days, because of the gas line they had to replace on the bottom of the hill down there. Oh, I talked to the chief again after, and I said, I talked to a few people that have kids in school, and none of the buses were late when they shut down Tower Road, and they all had to go out that one gate. I says, so this must be a lie also. I said, but I'd be willing to, I could be wrong, but I'll go up to the high school with you, and let me see if they text any of these parents or anything that these kids aren't going to be at the bus stop after school. The bus is going, there was nothing late. It's just one lie after another lie, one lie after another lie. It just never stops.
What I can say, as the deputy did say, come to our next meeting, and we hope by then we will have it resolved.
All right,
Okay.
is there gonna be a cop up there when the gate is open after for the school?
I can't speak to that issue.
We've been trying to have a police officer up there, not so much to direct the traffic out of the school, but to deal with the parking issues from the parents parking and moving them, advising them this can't be parked, people can't be parking up there, and also monitoring the exiting vehicles if they're coming down, the road on Down Tower very fast. There's students in the road, like today there was a group of students that were walking with traffic instead of against traffic, so kind of like education as to how we can work this. But if the gate is closed, it will just be pedestrian traffic and it will eliminate some of that. So that is on the table for the police department and the superintendent and the high school to work on now that we have John Trumbull under control.
I'm not gonna bother you no more, I got one more thing to say. When that gate is open after school and those cars are coming out and those cars parked there, there's also maybe 30, 40, 50 kids walking out the same gate with these cars, walking in between these cars. To me, it's just total miracle that nobody got hurt up there yet. Really. If you see them, and you know how the kids are nowadays, they come out of the gate, they got their telephone, they're walking out there, cars are zooming by them, they're walking in between the parked cars, so sooner or later, something's gonna happen. Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. Any other people would like to speak? The microphone is open. Please come up and state your name and address.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
This is my wife Karina. I'm Harry Cave, Karina Cave. We live at 121 Riverside Street. And lately I've been very concerned with the speed of the traffic.
From the high school.
From the high school, especially at that time, like afternoon when they're leaving school, that's when it's the worst. I mean, they're doing 50. 50 would be generous. They're going really fast. And it's not only the kids after school, it's other traffic also. We live at the Main Street, closer to the Main Street end, not the French Street end. And the cars, they get up to 50 easy on that road. And it's a 25-mile-an-hour zone. So even
I've called the police department several times. They've come out, sat 1 or 2 weeks.
We've seen them out there a few times. I don't know how long it lasted, but it's, I just don't know. We recently lost a pet. I know they're not supposed to be in the road, but the cat lost across the road and got run over. Grandchildren are heartbroken.
Right.
And it's something that's we've been there since '97, and it's something that's been getting worse and worse. And I don't know, I was told, when I called the police, I was told that this would be the place to air my concerns.
Well, not only to air your concerns, we are concerned as a Department for Safety. And when you have high speed, and that is one of the biggest problems, I think, in Watertown right now, we have to work to calm the speed in various areas. We have another item on our agenda tonight is concerned with also speeding. So there has to be greater, and I will address that a little later in the meeting, enforcement. We have to get the public to slow down. It seems that the environment that we have in our society today, I don't know if it's the result of COVID, driving is very dangerous, whether it's around the school or on the roads on the highway. People are moving in very erratic patterns. We will try to deal with your problem. I am familiar with where they exit down through that road, and then they come out over by the CVS, and that is a major problem. So let it be assured that we have heard you, and I assure you the deputy chief will bring the message to the chief, and the whole department will be alerted to maybe serve people what is something that we don't like to call upon, enforcement with ticketing. So there may be a need for increased ticketing. We get a report every month on how many tickets were given out, how many violations there were. This is something that maybe we have to increase. and
I don't
get,
know how not to interrupt you, sir, excuse me. If we, one of those signs that lights up and tells you how fast you're going, that would probably deter a lot of the speeding that goes on there. I'm no expert, but,
that's the
I know when I
first,
see one of those, I s-
that's
slow
the
down.
first line of action, is to get one of those signs in that area, and then, of course, enforcing the speed.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming tonight.
I have one more quick issue. I'm probably in the wrong forum for this, but there's two potholes that are right in front of my house. And a truck coming down that road, doing a little excess speed, hits them, two of them right in a row,
Manhole covers.
boom, boom. And it sends me out of bed, flipping out of bed. And I don't know if I should call,
Public Works.
Public
Okay,
Works,
that's
yeah.
right. I
They-
thought I might bring it up
and,
here and get
maybe,
pointed in the right direction if this was in the
right.
right place.
What's the number of your house again?
121.
121.
Right before Henry Street.
Very good. Thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Is there anyone else that'd like to speak? Yes, ma'am, come on up.
Hi, never been here, thank you for having us. So what do I push?
It's already on.
Oh, perfect. Hi.
Pull the
So-
mic down towards you, please.
Huh?
It's very easy.
So you can hear
Down
us.
here? Hi.
Yes, good,
Can you hear
thank
me?
you.
Okay, hi. So my name is Irmgard, my last name is Dumschott. I live on 449 Mount Fair Drive. This is my husband, Roger. It seems to be the theme of the night, speed. That's why we are here. So the situation is, we live on Mount Fair Drive. We've been there since 1995. We live at the bottom of a hill. You pick up speed naturally. You cannot help but pick up speed. So you have to hit the brakes. Sadly, most people, when they see this beautiful white road, I wished we had some potholes, they go fast. They step on the accelerator. So we have called the police department over the last couple years. Whenever we have someone who's truly out of control, which we had a lady from a road below, the police does come out, so thank you. You did speak to this woman, that has stopped. But then it doesn't matter. It is the delivery truck, it is FedEx, it is the policeman who lives up the street, who doesn't work in this town, but he brings his kids, he goes way too fast. It's the woman who has 5 children who goes too fast. It is the young children who gives me the finger when I try to calm them down. It doesn't matter. It is people who live in the neighborhood. It's people who leave the neighborhood to get to their jobs. It's people who cut through the neighborhood, because as you all know, Mount Fair Drive is perfect to cut through to get to the highway. So we have called repeatedly. Our neighbor Marlene had talked to the chief, had written emails. We had tried to compile some information for you as to when people speed more excessively than other times. We were promised to have cruisers come and monitor the speed. We had invited them to sit in our driveway, but only twice, as far as we know, did the police come, but they parked in the road, a deterrent. When someone sees that police car, they will slow down. You will never catch them. So anyhow, when I talked to the chief about, 2-3 weeks ago, he asked me to come and speak to you. I have asked for a speed bump. And years ago, when we asked for a speed bump, the answer was we couldn't have one because of the plows in the winter. This time, he said we couldn't because then everybody wants one. And I think this goes back to what we just heard. People are going too fast. It's just a tragedy waiting to happen. We have put up small lawn signs that we bought with our own money. They get stoned, some of them we have. I don't know if they help or they don't. So what we would like to see, what we were hoping for is that, first of all, a radar sign. We have asked for it for years. I think there's people out there, they don't even realize how fast they go. When you're in a hurry, when you're rushed, your kids have to go to whatever activity, you don't pay attention. You just fly. I've done it, been there. But if you see how fast you really go, maybe that'll stop you. We have invited the police to sit in our driveway, my neighbor and I, and see how fast people really go. It is crazy fast because people don't even step on their brakes. They don't even try to. We have asked for speed bumps. My husband and I drove through our neighborhood to see how many 25 miles per hour signs are. When you come up from Northwest Drive, there's a sign saying go 25 miles per hour, kids playing, and then there's no more signs, not on Northwest Drive, not on East Street, and you can go through entire Mount Fair Drive. You can take a right or you can take a left. There's no more signs telling you to slow down. They all are pointing the other way. We have a silly sign at the end of Vista Drive as you leave the neighborhood telling you to go 25 miles an hour, and kids are playing just as you leave the neighborhood.
What was that speed, 25?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's my question. Why can it not be 15 miles per hour? We all know people double their speed anyhow. You know, you guys don't have time to come up and monitor all this because you have to go to the high school. So is there a way where in neighborhoods like that, speeds can be lowered to 15 miles per hour? I was just in Pennsylvania. They do it. And lately, we have more young children again. Ours is an aging neighborhood, but now we have young children, kids on their bikes. I asked them, get on the sidewalk, get off the road. It's a tragedy to happen. And they're not gonna run me over. Do you know what I mean? I am here because I'm afraid someday I have to go out and take care of young children who were run over while they're on their bikes. We all want our children to be out there, but if you want them to be out there, then they have to be out there safely, and they're not safe in our neighborhood. So in other countries, like in Germany, where I come from, things like this are painted on the road. You know, put it on the road, amend the signs that we have. The signs we have, put them up straight so they mean something. They don't have to be tilted and crooked like nobody cares about our 25 miles an hour signs. Put up signs, get us speed bumps, make it safe. People are not gonna stop. And yes, we need a radar sign for the people who want to comply, finally see how fast they really go. Thank you for listening.
I didn't get which street you lived on. Which street do you live
It's
on?
Mount Fair Drive.
Mount Fair Drive, okay,
Yeah.
I know where it is.
Yeah, I wished it was a narrow road. I wished we had speed bumps. I don't know what else to say, other than this is a tragedy waiting to happen.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for listening.
Is there anyone else that'd like to address the commission?
Catherine Camera, 31 Cottage Place. Thank you, Amy. That was really, really good. I wasn't going to talk about traffic, but I'll say one thing, is I live on a dead-end road, or a no outlet road, as they're supposed to be known as now, and I'll just say this, and you know it, because I was there with you guys several years ago about the fact that at my dead-end road, there's a chain link that goes across because it enters the parking lot of the church. And I told you when they would, in the wintertime, they take it down so the plow can get through. I have no problem with that. And then when they started to leave it down for the whole winter, the cars are flying by, and I don't know if, I guess it was through Department of Public Works, you put whatever they are that radar the speed, not the police, but the little boxes or whatever, clocking 65 miles an hour on my small little street. So, you know, just to Amy's point of you don't live on a narrow road, I do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So it's really pretty bad when people, you know, for my road, they saw it as the cut through, which was really sad because you've got a daycare there and they're just flying through the church. But that wasn't what I was planning to talk about tonight. Tonight I wanted to talk about nepotism. And before I bring that up, I want to bring you back to the virtual meetings that we were having in 2021, because I want to point out that I mailed to each of you a report that I had gotten. When I wanted to talk about it at the meeting, I was muted. I was told I couldn't talk about it. I want to tell you that that's a violation of my First Amendment right. I have the right to address my government, and you're my government. What I also need to tell you, in case you want to shut me down for anything that I say, is I filed complaints against police officers in 2012, maybe 2012 and 2013. I stand by them, and I think probably every one of you has at some point complained about service you've received, whether it's your cable TV, your internet, something where you've complained about service that you've received. That doesn't make you anti-cable. That doesn't make you anti-cell phone, okay? But when I complained, it made me anti-police, and I'm not. What I am is someone who wants to express when I was dissatisfied with what I'm paying for and that my taxes pay for police service. I was a 50-year-old woman going through some pretty bad things that were happening in my neighborhood that led me to have post-traumatic stress disorder, led me to start coming to meetings about things that were going on. So that's where this all started with me. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because in the Waterbury paper, the chief of police pointed out all of my complaints. I considered that to be retaliation. You're not supposed to retaliate against someone who files police complaints in any form. I considered that retaliation. What I was told was that the information was available through freedom of information, and therefore, anybody can talk about it. So I'm letting you know that because I was trying to bring something up at a meeting virtually, and you kicked me out of the meeting. And it was something that I had obtained through freedom of information. So I have notified the town. I may be suing the town on that point for interrupting my First Amendment. I just want you to know that, because if you think that I'm wrong, you should really talk to Paul Jessel, because that's what he told me. And if it can't work both ways. It can't be you can talk about me, publicize me, because it's freedom of information, but then I can't talk about something else. So I just wanted to bring that up, because I want to mention, and I want to hand something out, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is an article that was written in the Hartford Courant. It says, for police, nepotism, a common danger. Dozens of law enforcement departments employ family members. It was written on February 12th of 2011. That's almost 13 years ago, or 12. And the reason I bring this up is because I don't believe in nepotism in any departments, but I think in the police department it's extremely dangerous. And there happens to be a new hire in the police department who's the sister-in-law of a police officer who was suspended with barely a year of service with our department. And so I don't have a lot of confidence as it is with that officer. I've been told that they're doing a good job, and that's great. But the circumstances of what happened there were that you were doing something for a friend, family friend, and now we've got a family member also in the department. And I really think it's time for that to be addressed and to be, not just with the police department, but the whole town. The town should have a nepotism policy. I don't think we should have a lot of any family members working in most definitely the same department. I mean, people might argue if you're in, the Board of Ed or the town, okay, maybe I could see that. Or, you work for the police department and then somebody else works in the water department. Maybe, I don't know. I just think it's a really bad policy, and if you read through this, that's been years ago that they've talked about that. And I'm concerned because how many, is it going to keep going? I mean, we really, really need to look at this in this department. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Is there anyone else that'd like to comment? Is there anyone else that'd like to comment? Is there anyone else? Let us move on with our agenda, ended public participation. We will go to, we have to approve tonight two different matters concerning our regular meetings. One is the regular meeting of September 14th, and the other is October 12th. And it is dealing with the minutes. I'd just like to mention Commissioner Genetti, you were absent for the September 14th. So when somebody would like to make a motion,
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the Wednesday, September 14th, 2022 Police Commission meeting.
motion is made. Do I have a second?
I second the motion, Robert McCarthy.
Motion has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Anyone abstaining?
Abstain.
One abstention. Motion is passed. The next meeting was the September 12th, 2022,
October.
and I believe who was absent at that particular meeting was Commissioner Russ and Commissioner Verno. I will accept a motion at the time to accept October 12th.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept the October 12th, 2022 regular meeting minutes of the Watertown Police Commission.
Motion has been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Let us move on with our agenda. The next matter on the agenda is a correspondent from a person, Heather Ramos, and she is interested in having on her street, which is Hubble Street, Hubble Avenue, and we had a lot of issues concerning speeding tonight, but often, and a recommendation to put in speed bumps, or as they're known, calming devices, to try to calm down how fast people move, but it is a constant situation. So with this correspondence, I will ask for any suggestions people would want to make on the commission or comments.
Mr. Chairman, yes, I went up today to look at Hubble Avenue because I wanted to be where it was at. And it's a narrow street that runs quite a distance, but it goes up a very steep hill, and it's narrow. So I do not think anyone is going to be speeding up that hill. Coming down, if they were speeding, would be very dangerous because it's a narrow street and it goes down quick. But as we've said before, you can't put speed bumps on every street in Watertown. So I think maybe they would have to monitor the speed on that street. So then you'd know if they were really speeding or not. There's a perception that they might be going fast when they aren't. But it is a steep hill, and if you come down that way, it's very steep, because I went up to look at it.
I think that's very good, Commissioner, that you do that. I'm not familiar with the street or where it's located. Where does it exit into?
It's off of Davis Street, and I took it off of Davis Street, and I went up one street, and then I went over, and it's up that way. Maybe Mr. Nickel is familiar with that area because he lives near there. I think I went up Bamford is the street I went up, and then you took a left off of Bamford, and then a right, and that was Hubble Avenue up that way.
So,
Am I correct? Yeah, all of them are steep hills in that area, yes. I rode through all the area, they're all steep hills up there. That isn't the only steep hill there, you know, and it's narrow, the street.
any other comments from members of the commission concerning speed bumps?
Mr. Chairman, from my understanding, the speed bumps or speed humps and other calming, traffic calming measures have to be, they're only installed at the recommendation of a traffic engineer because they do carry with them some risk also. There's risk to
Right.
motorcycles and
Plows.
plows and whatnot. So if we were to consider them at all anywhere in the town of Watertown, it would have to be on the recommendation of a certified traffic engineer.
Any other comments? Any other comments? One of the approaches that we've been trying, and I don't know if we'll have a report from the deputy chief, is using a device that we put there first is a recording speed to try to slow people down. We have 4, and one of the questions that I would be coming to later in the agenda is where are they located now? Are you prepared to give us that information at this time?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Deputy.
So we did move 2 of them, which were requested at the last meeting. So we still have one at Hamilton by Hamilton Lane, Davis Street by the Swift School entrance, and then the 2 that we just recently moved are, it's at Middlebury Road by Deerfield and Bunker Hill Road by Georgetown. So those are the 2 that were moved from the locations from last month. So I did make notes. I believe that the other 2 individuals who were requesting, that's what they would like. So maybe for leave it in these locations for the month, but prior to next meeting, move it to some of the locations that were talked about today, and potentially move those other 2 that were near the school, but I'll talk about the chief as to why particularly those have remained. But we do have 4 to kind of play with and move around.
Right, we have 4, and maybe there is need for more of those types of devices. And whenever we get a report like tonight, the first thing, I know there's a limit to the number of places we can put them. So we'll definitely want that as a priority area.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any other comments? I didn't hear that.
She wants to ask a question.
Oh, come up to the microphone, please. State your name and address again.
Sure. Do I push anything?
Yeah.
What do I push?
Is it on?
This one? Oh, here.
Yes. Good.
My name is, I did. You can. So my name is Irmgard Domschat, Mount Fair Drive 449. So I'm trying to understand about the radar signs. Do they record when people go too fast, or is it just for people to see what speed they're going?
So I believe that the ones we have are not recording the data. I feel like that's what the chief had talked about last meeting. So it is just notifying the person of their speed as to what they are going.
Okay, but the technology is out there that they could potentially record cars
Yes.
going too fast.
Yes. And then we can get like an update. We put it out there for 2 weeks, and then we can look at that data. But I am uncertain, so I would want to, I can get back to you. I can get your information and as to what of our 4, what they do.
And the light it flashes what speed you're going.
Yes.
Over the 30 miles an hour, I
Yes.
think. It'll flash that you're doing 31, 32, or
Yes,
35.
yes.
I don't know if it flashes if you're doing 25, but I've seen it on my street flashing 31, 32,
Yeah.
because the speed is 30
Because
miles
it
an hour.
wants to alert you that you're going too fast. So if the technology is out there, that there can be recordings, and if this is such, to me, such an important thing in this town that you have stated that people are going too fast and we need to calm them down, that everybody's so busy. I work in Waterbury. I mean, every week someone is run down, every week. Someone ends up in St. Mary's Hospital because people go too fast. So I don't want this for our town. So why can we not budget to get more radar signs that have better technology that then record people, and you get a good sense of how many people go too fast and possibly even catch these people? Because if we don't want to put in speed bumps, and I totally appreciate what you're saying, but then let's do something else, like radar signs that have better technology. The radar signs we have, you say they get rotated on a monthly basis?
We can rotate them depending on the need, and also it requires a certain amount of logistics we can't put them in every place based on power, and we have to, hook them up to be able to run them. So
Right.
there is some parameters that we do need to meet in locations that we're going to put them.
Okay, so there are some that are, like, I assume, solar?
They are
friendly,
solar.
Right?
Yes.
So you could do that. Okay, I just wanted to know, because I feel, let's do something, people obviously are very upset, and if this technology is out there, and if there's a budget, why not get more radar signs? It seems to me there is a great need in this town for more than just 4 radar signs. Thank you for letting
Thank
me
you.
ask.
Good.
Rich, I got a question.
Yes, there are some questions.
Yeah,
Commissioner?
thank you. It says that we have devices that could read, obviously, the speed of a vehicle. We have a device that's capable of reading your license plate. Is there a device capable of integrating both those features and capable of generating a fine that's delivered via the mail? Similar to now what they have on the highways. Instead of stopping at a toll, it's all done photographically. They take a picture of your license plate and they send you the toll fee if you don't have the little device. So if you're able to do both these features, then obviously we could generate, there's no need to have any police officer here at any given time because the device would do it for you.
I think that's town and state based, but there are red light cameras in other states where they utilize that technology. That's a question beyond me. I think it has to go, to above that as to where we would put them and how that technology would work, and if the legislation has moved forward on those types of devices in Connecticut. But there is technology.
There has to be, yeah.
Yes.
But it's controversial.
It is controversial.
Very controversial, because then you're ticketing many people in the town through that device, and they're getting speeding tickets, and then they're not happy, let's put it this way, because there's an overabundance of them then.
Yes, sir.
We got a lot of people unhappy because of the speed. Can't satisfy both ends of this thing.
One of the problems, like, for instance, I'm familiar with Maryland, is they have devices that record speeds and plate, and they send you a ticket. And they say, well, I wasn't driving the car, it was my son. Well, it's the car that gets the ticket, not the driver.
Yeah.
And what happens, though, in Connecticut, I asked the chief about this, and he says we can't get them in Connecticut because Connecticut doesn't have a law to do that particular device. So maybe we have to talk, and I did mention at an earlier meeting that I will talk with our state representative and our state senator, that maybe there is a need for law. And Commissioner, you were talking about controversy. There will be a lot of controversy
yes, right.
over that.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that, hey, I got a ticket. I wasn't driving. It was my wife or my son or an uncle I gave my car to. Well, you got to pay. As they say, if you want to play, if you want to speed, then you got to pay. And I think enforcement, and I think several meetings, that has always been my position. We have laws. Those laws have to be enforced. I know it's time-consuming, but tonight we're going to be looking at October, and we're going to be looking at violations. I hope some of the members of the commission have some comments to make, and that would be the time and place. And Commissioner Rich, you are generally aware in looking at that particular sheet, and maybe you'll have some comments on that. All right, let us move on. We have speed bumps, we have speed types of devices, speed enforcement with devices. We will try to get those devices out as soon as they're ready to be moved. New business, we have none. old business. It talks about the device as far as that plate reading. Deputy Chief, do you have anything to report on those two items there underneath old business?
On the plate reading device, no, it's been working well. We've had a couple alerts yesterday, but that we're able to put alerts into the system and then be notified. So I get notified on my cell phone, the officers do, and to potentially go and attempt to stop a vehicle that we had an alert. So if an individual has a warrant, if we're looking for someone. So they have been very effective and helpful. Everything has been positive for assisting the police in investigations from the plate readers. And then the update on the speed reading locations, I had just given you that. We did move the two to the Middlebury Road by Deerfield and Bunker Hill Road by Georgetown. I've taken notes for the chief and for us to look at if we can move them prior to next meeting. And also, I will make sure I have accurate information about if any of the four do record, and if we can use that data to be able to say, the perception is that someone is doing 50, but it actually is, it's with, the narrowness of the road and the hill, it may be perceived that it is going faster, but at least it's always nice to be able to have concrete data. And if not, moving some of the officers into those locations to be able to give us some real feedback, not, with what the speeds are.
I know you're new to the department. Have you seen our stealth car, the one that is unmarked?
The traffic, yes,
Yeah.
the traffic vehicle.
Have you, how often is that sent out?
It does go out often, and we are getting a few new vehicles in the fleet, and the thought is to have some of them, it's called like ghost markings, where it's subdued, to be able to have those in the fleet as well, to be able to utilize those for situations where we want to obviously have the ability to have it marked with lights and everything, but not so much standing out, so we can use it for some of these type of things, running radar, sitting and watching intersections, red lights, stop signs, I'm sorry.
Any other questions from our commission?
No.
Hearing none, let us move on. Chairman's report, I have an article concerning Jonathan Trumbull's school that was in the Town Times, and I would ask Commissioner Hobart, would you like to read that?
Certainly.
For the record.
This article from the October 27th issue of the Town Times titled Board of Education Addresses Traffic at Trumbull School. As Board of Education meeting began on Monday, October 24th, Superintendent Dr. Allison Villanueva addressed the traffic situation at John Trumbull Primary School, thanking the community for working with the school district as new traffic patterns are explored to alleviate increased road congestion as students gather at and leave the school. This week, all traffic was directed to the front of the school, avoiding use of the back gate. Dr. Villanueva said, "I still stand by that we need a secondary exit just for the number of vehicles that are coming in and out of our school building during arrival and dismissal. But at this time, with a little delay here and there and with police presence, we are able to get in and out with a little bit of delay. She looks forward to the traffic study that is planned and thanks everyone for their patience."
That was in the Town Times, October, and,
27th,
pardon me?
27th October.
Yeah, 27th of October. So it appears we have hopefully resolved the problem over at Jonathan Trumbull. I know that the department had an officer over there at Jonathan Trumbull to make sure that there were no problems, and according to his comments to me, he said things were moving very smoothly, that he felt there was really no problem at all.
Yes, and we were able to pull the officer, and so to utilize that resource because the traffic was flowing out that front with no issues. So we did monitor it for about a week after we completely had the gates shut, and it seems to be working well. So that's good news.
Well, that's good. Any questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, just a comment that further in the article, it does state that the superintendent mentioned that there's a consulting group, SLR Consulting, who's already come to survey the school and has developed a proposal for the town and the school district regarding traffic inside the school property. So
Yeah, there,
at some point,
Again.
I would imagine we're going to get some more information on that
You're right. Again, the school property, they see it as their fiefdom, and they will deal with traffic inside. We are assured that the gates are locked. We are assured that it does not cause a problem on the state highway, and that is our situation. So they are looking at it. I think we've raised the situation, and I'm happy to hear that they are going to address this problem. There are problems at other schools we've heard about, but they haven't been before us tonight. On French Street, there's another school where there's almost double parking in order to pick up children. So it is a problem throughout the whole school system, and I'm happy to see that the Board of Ed and the superintendent is aware of that. Moving past the chairman's report, we had enough time on that. The police chief's monthly report. Deputy Chief, would you like to read that into the record?
Yes. Good evening. If anyone didn't get the email, I will have the chief re-forward it with the other information that he normally sends out for the commission. So the Watertown Police Department is currently fully staffed with 40 sworn officers. We are anticipating the retirement of a sergeant in May, and with that retirement, we are anticipating to not have any vacancies, and we're going to be putting one new officer into the police academy beginning December 30th, 2022. That process of hiring that officer is currently underway right now. The individuals who have decided to apply to the Watertown Police Department, we ended up having 40 applications. We are now moving 10 of those to the oral phase of it, and that is going to be next week on the 15th. So from the oral phase, we already have slots set up because we have a short window to do the next phases of psychological, all the testing that is required, so that we will make that December 30 deadline of being able to seat somebody in the post-Meriden Academy. So we will have a very short time where we will be understaffed by one upon that retirement in May. It'll be replacing Sergeant Robinson. A detective selection process is also underway. 6 officers applied for the position, and we're going to have an oral panel that takes place on Wednesday of next week, the 16th. We're using 3 outside agency sergeants or lieutenants to come in and to administer the oral. So we're using one from New Haven, one from Bethel, and one from Danbury. So we get somebody who, outside 20 miles, won't really know the candidates, just to try to make it as fair as possible for the process. The Town Highway Department did trim back the vegetation at the intersection of Route 262 and Denunza Road, which the chief had requested because it was blocking sight lines, and it has greatly improved, and we discussed that at the last meeting. Police call statistics are being sent to the Town Times on a monthly basis, which was a request from last meeting. The Town Times did state they will make an effort to print them every month. I do not know when they will print them, if it's going to be a set week or day. Veterans Day, we will be at the Oakville Green for the ceremony at 11 o'clock. There will be also a wreath at the other 2 ceremonies that are happening at the same time, but the police department will be there. The chief will be speaking at that one. I will be there, and the honor guard will also be there. Thanksgiving weekend, we will be doing a toy drive at Marshall's, both Saturday and Sunday, so people can come out and bring us toys, and then we give them to the Parks and Recs department to be given out to children for the holiday. And then the PBA, the Police Association, sponsors a holiday senior luncheon, and that will be on December 7th at Sunset Grill, which is a great event. All the seniors usually come out to that, so we're excited to be involved in that as well. And I think that is it, unless anybody has any questions.
Are there any questions to the deputy chief? Any questions?
I have one, yes. You do the oral exam first, or do you do the written and then the oral?
For the entry level?
Yes.
They've already taken their written and they've already taken their physical. So they have to take both of that. They need to have a minimum score in order to move on to the oral. And so that's the next phase.
Everyone does have the monthly reports. Any comments from commissioners on that report?
My only comment is, I think the chief mentioned on that criminal arrest, it's September was 16th, and now it's 38. Was that they were serving, because of COVID, they didn't serve a lot of warrants?
So it was a couple things. So I looked at that too. It's almost double. We do have some officers who have kind of picked up proactivity, and they have made some arrests, doing some proactive work. A stolen car arrest, some drug paraphernalia arrests. We also had, it seems like there was an increase in domestics. So I'm not quite sure what is related to that. We do usually see them in the December, the holiday months. We do see that kind of increase due to stress from holidays, but there has been some more of that, and a couple warrant services that we weren't normally seeing, but there is nothing, we didn't have anything out of the ordinary in terms of arrest, but I do think it was those couple categories that did drive up the criminal arrests.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? One question, is the officer still assigned to walking the downtown area where the businesses are?
Not regularly. We do ask, the officers to get out and to walk, but they are not necessarily assigned, but I can bring that back to the chief as to see if maybe during the holiday with the businesses that we can have some extra presence on foot in those areas, just as people are out shopping and, going to dinners and
Right.
doing a little bit of holiday things.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any other questions? Yep,
No, no,
Okay.
thank you, no.
motion, I think, is in order.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made. Do I have a second?
I second it, Robert
Motion.
McCarthy.
Motion is made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstain? At the time, we are adjourning at? 8:01. What time you have?
8:01.
8:01. Thank you.